We've talked about. That's good. We'll review some of the things we talked about. To become the ultimate hitter, we talked about what's involved in becoming the ultimate hitter. What do ultimate hitters do? Anyone? Maddie.
They get on, they hit when they have guys on base and they need to drive them in. When they have a guy on first, they hit to the right side of the ball to advance them when they're on second base or whatever. And they can hit for power or average.
Hit for power, hit for average, hit consistently, hit in pressure situations, and basically that's who they are. Who comes to mind as the ultimate hitter?
Albert Pujols.
Yes, I think he really comes to mind when you talk about the ultimate hitter. What is the objective of the hitter? What is the objective of the hitter? He is looking for a good pitch to put on a good swing with timing in the right situation. So those are the things that you got to think about. To affect the ultimate hitter, we have 5 categories that we've identified. And each week we've gone over, each time we've kind of gone over one and see how it applies or how it interconnects with each other. We talked about bat speed. We talked about degree of separation determines greatness from an athletic standpoint. Hi, Steve. We also talked technically. Technically, another name for being technical is mechanical. Intellectually, situations, get on, get them over, get them in. Emotionally, we're going to talk about that today. And then visually, we identified that that visually is probably the most important of the 5. If you can't see it, you will not be able to hit it. You can get away with your mechanics or your techniques not quite so well, but if you really can't see it or you don't see the ball well, you're really going to have a great degree of difficulty. And if you're blind, you can't hit at all. So visually is very important. With visually comes timing and uncluttering the mind, having soft, sweeping, scanning eyes. So everything that we do, we should keep those 5 things in perspective, and we probably will integrate, meaning that they all are interconnected and they all probably relate to one another. You know, visually, emotionally, if your mind's too caught up in things, if it's thinking too much, you're probably not going to be able to see the ball too well. So there's a lot of overlap.
What's that word next in emotionally? The sight.
Okay, too sight.
Oh.
Too sight. Too fired up. Not fired up enough. We're going to get back to that. But I guess what I'd like to start with is what are your standards? And I think that's really an important question. What are your standards? Tiger Woods has standards. Michael Jordan has standards. Anybody that's very successful has certain standards. What's meant by standards? Anybody know? What do you think about that? Newcomer.
Like for a baseball player, like
Let's say a hitter.
a certain hitter with like, if you're good, you'd expect to have like an average that's like pretty good.
Okay. That's you're getting warm, lukewarm. What do you think, Brandon? What's meant by standards? What are your standards? When we talk about the bar, is your bar here? Did you ever hear the term raise the bar? What is meant by that, Austin?
Raise your standards, raise your personal goals.
Okay, raise your expectations. New Year's resolutions. You may have some. To lose weight, to get stronger, to get better grades, to da-da-da-da-da. Why are New Year's resolutions, why do they never stick? You notice that? A lot of adults do it. I'm sure probably you have done it too. Why do New Year's resolutions never stick? Or for the most part, never stick? It's because habits and routines aren't followed. Just wanting to have stronger, bigger muscles or wanting to lose weight is not enough. It's got to follow with consistent action. It's got to follow with habits. More importantly, routines. Part of that is who you hang out with. If I want to become a better hitter, what would I do to become a better hitter? Give me some things that you would do to become a better hitter. What could guarantee you improvement? Because it's really all about progress, right? That's the ultimate thing that we define ourselves with. How do we progress? How do we get better? That's what's going to make us feel good. Change is going to happen if you do the right things. So it's progress, progress, progress. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, but it keeps getting better and better and better. So, who had your hand? Did you have your hand up, Jason? Practice. Okay, so give me an example of practice. That's a habit. That's something that you would do. How would you practice to get better? What would you do to get better? What kind of practice?
Wait for what pattern?
Well, let's assume that we're talking about becoming the ultimate hitter.
Um,
How do you become the ultimate hitter?
Hit every day.
Okay, hitting every day. That's a standard. Do you think that if I just thought I want to be the greatest hitter on my high school team and basically did nothing until March 1st, do you think you're going to be the best hitter on your team? Chances are you're probably not. You may have tremendous talent and you may have really good skill, but if you don't put that into play, it's not going to happen for you. Correct? So you've got to work at it. You know, there's a saying that you could be on the right track, but if you don't move, you're going to get run over. And so there's no such thing as staying the same. You're either going to get better or you're going to get worse. And I'm here to tell you, you've got to have better standards. And I'm not speaking to you individually. I'm just making some general observations about people and hitters. You have to have better standards. You have to raise the bar. And part of that is raising your emotional state. What is meant by raising your emotional state? Your state of mind. What do you suppose is meant by that? I'm giving you some stuff that if you get, it's really about the inner game. Yes, you practice, Jason. Yes, that's very important. Yes, being athletic is important. Yes, the technical aspects is important. Knowing what to do in certain situations is important. Visually is important. But emotionally, what's inside your coconut? What's between the ears? Your state of mind. Every time I do something, anytime I'm in front of people, to include yourselves, I want to give you as much as I can. I don't want to leave any stone unturned. I want to make sure that I give you my best. So I've put a standard on myself to say, hey, these guys are here. They're thirsting for information. It's my responsibility to give it to you. What can I do to make you guys a better hitter? So I've placed a certain standard on myself. And I think everybody has to have a standard, and that standard has to be high. So what are you telling yourself? What are you feeding your brain? What are you feeding your mind? How are you raising the bar? How are you improving your state of mind? Do you have an inner voice that says, man, I should have gotten up today, or I should have taken a couple swings, or man, I'm tired, I don't feel like going. I mean, all of us, Tiger Woods, all the great ones, they all have those feelings, but they don't succumb to them. They raise the bar. Even if they don't like it, they have a routine, they have a habit, and that habit is who you are. In order to have, you must do certain things. In order to do, you must be. And so your being has to be one of raising the bar, high standards, having a state of mind that is absolutely ready to go, unstoppable. I told you the story about Derek Jeter. I spent some time with the hitting coach of the Yankees, Kevin Long, and he said there are three things that make Derek Jeter who he is today. The great one, the consummate team player, and a guy that performs. What are those three things? Do you guys remember?
Look at very fastball.
Okay, he looks fastball on every pitch. So he's simplified things. He's made things less complicated.
Doesn't try to pull anything.
He doesn't pull anything. Everybody's about the ego. Everybody wants to hit a ball country mile. In doing so, when they hit the ball out here all the time and they're looking to pull the ball, if you're a right-handed hitter, you're opening yourself up to some holes, some flaws. The longer you see the ball, the better chance of hitting the ball harder. So he has that. But the last thing, which I think is such a big thing, which is huge, is Kevin Long said that he's never seen a hitter that is so confident, as confident as Derek Jeter. He says that he truly believes that every time he goes up to the plate, he believes he's going to get a hit. But all of us could believe that or think we are. What is the difference? All of us want to be major leaguers, I think, or play at a very high level. What is the difference between some guys making it and some guys not?
Is there confidence level?
Confidence level, belief level, yes. What else? Everybody has pretty good vision, but what's the separation here? What's the big difference? Actions, habits, routines, standards. Do you think that Michael Jordan blew off practices? Do you think he had the mentality of an Allen Iverson? Practice? Me? It's only practice. I mean, come on now. Why are you getting on me for practicing or missing a practice or not putting out? I mean, I put out in games, but practice? That's Allen Iverson saying that. Can you imagine Michael Jordan saying that? He practices harder than anybody. He's missed more big shots than anybody, but he's also made more shots. You take the risk. There's an inner voice that tells you, I am free to do the very best that I can. There's an inner voice in every one of you. You need to listen to it. You can't say, hit like so-and-so, or my dad wants me to do it this way. Coach Nick wants me to do it this way. My grandmother wants me to do it this way. My high school coach wants me to do it this way. It's not about that. It's about listening to your inner voice. You guys are here, obviously, because you want to get better. And I hope you're not here because your parents made you. I hope you're here because you sincerely believe that you're going to get better. And the only way you're going to get better is if your standards are high, your belief is high. So it's the inner making, the inner working that's critical. Anybody can teach a guy this. It'll take you a while, but anybody can do it. A monkey can swing a certain way, quite frankly. Athletically, you got to build up to that. That's willpower for me. Intellectually, that's just being around it and knowing some things. Emotionally, that's where it really varies a lot. How fired up? Are you too fired up? Are you too psyched up? Are you not fired up enough? How aroused do you have to be to play at your best? Isn't it a shame if you go into a game and you don't give it your best, whatever your best is? That's all that any coach asks you to do, is to give it your best. Aren't you upset with yourself if you know you can do better and it just doesn't work out for you because maybe your mental state of mind wasn't what it should be, or maybe you don't know how to handle with all the nerves that possibly come into the play and all these little gremlins talking negative in your head? That's a shame. Those are all things that you can work on. Those are all very trainable things. So start keeping that in mind. There are basically two pains. The pain of discipline and the pain of regret. What does that mean? Who knows what that's about?
Well, like there's
How old are you?
11.
Great. Go ahead. I
well-
love it. An 11-year-old answer these questions. Go ahead.
Well, there's the pain of going through discipline, like hitting repetitively, and that can get a little annoying sometimes. And then there's pain of regret, like if you get up and you strike out, then you regret what you did.
I like that, Brett. But how about this? The pain of regret, meaning, oh, I didn't feel like doing T-work today. Oh, I didn't feel like going into the weight room. I didn't feel like throwing that medicine ball a little bit more. The regret of not taking a few extra sprints. The regret or the discipline of not handling the chords, doing chord work. Things that may not be so much fun. So the pain of discipline is really not as great as the pain of regret. And maybe you don't understand that quite yet, but as adults and having gone through it and listened to many and seeing many kids not perform up to their abilities, it's really sad. and they always come back and say, Coach, I wish I would have listened. I wish I would have worked harder. I wish I would have been in the weight room. I wish I would have done better in the classroom. I wish I would have read more. I wish I would have written more. I wish I would have thanked this person. You know, it goes on and on and on and on. The last thing you want is regret. So, anyway, so today it was a lot about your emotion, the state of mind, listening to your inner voice. In order to have, you got to do. In order to do, you got to be. You got to be who you are, and you got to be here now. It's really about being here and now, having high standards, followed with habits, great focus, and routine. So, lastly, I just want to talk about routines. I want you to come up with right now, before we go out and actually get some things done, I want you to tell me or write down some things that you do in terms of a routine. When does your routine begin and when does it end in regards to a ball game to get yourself ready to hit? All right, so let's jot down some notes, and if we have a few minutes, we'll talk about it. But jot down some quick notes about what your routine is in terms of getting going up to an at bat.